Hello, my name is Darren Catalane, and this is my Component 3 project. My group's issue was prescription drug abuse and addiction. This is an important issue because it is an issue that can cause a lot of problems for the people who are addicted to drugs, including reduced health and mental problems. This image here shows what prescription drugs look like, so you can have a better visual of what we are dealing with. In Florida, 8% of the population use drugs in excess, and around the world, 36.3 million people suffer from drug use disorders. There are many organizations that are fighting this issue, including the European Opiate Treatment Association, the European Monitoring Center for Drugs and Drug Addiction, the National Institutes on Health, and the National Institute on Drug Abuse. This image right here shows the number of arrests that were made in Florida counties, specifically arrests that were made because of drug-related offenses. The relatively large total number of arrests show that the issue at hand is one that is a very serious problem. My group mates came up with a variety of other solutions. One solution was therapy as viewed through the ethical lens. The solution being to found a worldwide rehab center. Another solution is a prescription-based one viewed through a medical lens. It says that doctors can help to reduce drug abuse by giving out less pills. And the final solution was a genetic testing as viewed through the scientific lens, which would help since genes can determine how a body will handle a substance. My solution is policy making as viewed through the government lens. I chose it because I couldn't really have any other options. But specifically, my solution is the usage and passing of various government policies in order to make drug treatment more appealing and less criminalizing to drug addicts. Now I'm going to go over some various sources to help prove my point. This article talked about how making drug possession a crime doesn't help to fix the problem. This is because it doesn't make people already on drugs want to go to places to get help. It just makes them want to hide their addiction out of fear of getting punished. The article also went on to state how some countries are already making the move to get rid of their more aggressive laws on drug use in order to try and solve the problem more effectively. Source 2 here, it talked about how Portugal decriminalized drugs back in 2001 in order to try and solve their substance abuse issue. Overall, according to the article, the program has been very successful, thus helping provide evidence that a government program that assists people instead of hurting them works better. And this graph right here shows how well the new policy has worked for Portugal since its introduction, saying that Portugal now has the second lowest overdose rate in Europe. Certain diseases have decreased in the number of people that they affect. The number of drug-related crimes have gone down, and there are less people in prison. Source 3 talked about how the Philippines take a more aggressive stance towards the issue of drug addiction. They either heavily imprison or execute those accused of possessing drugs. It is noted by the article that the number of people that are punished has actually only gone up. Other countries around the world frown upon this practice. The article helps to prove the point that a government policy that punishes people does not work as a way to combat drug addiction issues. And this image shows that the citizens of the Philippines dislike the policy so much that they are actively protesting them. This source talks about how New York City is currently creating new treatment centers for victims of substance abuse. Overall, they expect them to work very well based on prior data, and this helps again to provide evidence that when government policies are done correctly, they have the potential to really handle drug addiction very well. And here's a quick image to show what rehab kind of looks like. Source 5 here talks about how England has decided to start treating drug addiction as a disease. It is hoped that this will reduce the stigma associated with drug-related issues, thus making people more willing to help and make it more appealing for drug addicts to seek assistance. And this graph here shows why this new policy is being implemented. As you can see, it shows that the number of drug-related deaths in England have gone up for most age groups, which has prompted a response in the form of a more understanding and less aggressive approach to drug addiction. Let's see here. This sort of a recap. Source 6 here talks about the different ways that different countries around the world, some of whom have already been discussed, deal with the substance abuse problem. In Portugal, as previously discussed, drug possession is not a crime, is not considered to be a criminal offense. In the Philippines, as seen in the previous example, citizens addicted to drugs have been imprisoned and with lengthy sentences and even killed. The Portuguese policies have been noted as being more effective. This shows that government policies can work effectively, and governments should try and follow by example, using policies that don't treat addiction as a crime. And these two images sort of show where the Philippines and Portugal are located, helping to provide context as to how widespread this issue is. My solution will work because a large number of governments have passed these policies, and the vast majority of them have produced very positive results. They show reduced incarceration rates and better public appeal. This graph shows a plan to reform a drug policy. The policy emphasizes treatment over imprisonment and expanding access to this treatment while reducing the stigma associated with drug addiction. My solution will need to be implemented using a standardized base of treating addiction as a disease, since that is the policy that appears to work the best. This will also prevent governments from trying to make a more aggressive policy to deal with drug addicts. The problem that my solution solves is the problem of continued substance abuse. This problem needs to be solved because substance abuse can lead to numerous health issues and overall unhappiness. My solution will work because, as previously stated, it has been proven to work in various other countries when it is done correctly. Bibliography. Thank you.